here's our main topic, is that I think everybody, or at least what most people are getting wrong about the fact that Final Fantasy XVI was a flop. Now, it's hard to find concrete numbers. There's enough information out there that it can be assumed that it took about $300 million to make this game. Big budget, Square Enix, flagship RPG title. Boom, 300 million between the development cost, marketing, and all that. It initially sells like 3 million copies. And then since then, it has sold 500,000, which tells you right then and there it's not a good game. My history with Final Fantasy, I was there from the beginning, from the 8-bit days. A little bit on the young side for the first game. Had a friend that was real smarter, played through it, and I watched him. Played a little bit. Of course, as an American, we didn't get the second or third game. They've been re-released, remastered 18 times since then. They're definitely available, but just in the in my life, in my progression, it just wasn't there. Final Fantasy IV comes out on the Super Nintendo, way increased graphics, 5 party members, wonderful music, story that at the time, at that age, and at the time of video game was just out of this world. That's my Final Fantasy. And that's really what, so I'll never make that proclamation like this Final Fantasy is the best Final Fantasy. Because when it comes to Final Fantasy fandom, the one that kind of you experience fully the first time is going to be your Final Fantasy. Some people, their first entry may have been Final Fantasy X. But I'll say that as far as my personal history of Final Fantasy goes, I played all of them 1 through 10, and they're great. Now, 1, 2, and 3, there were some technical limitations, 8-bit error that, okay, they drop off there. But other than that, oh, and 8, I hate. I'm sorry. But it's a whole nother topic. After that, 11, it was like, okay, because I love 10, by the way. 9 and 10, really 8 was a little bit of I just don't like the leveling system. The story's not great. Junction system, just a lot. But again, love 9, love 10. 11 is an MMO. 12 comes out. I play it, beat it, hate it. Because although it's like a fantasy aesthetic, fucking Bahamut and Leviathan are like just spaceships, which is bullshit. 12, I think, is the super linear one, which I just at that point I was checked out. 14, I think, is the MMO. I may be switching those two. 15, I bought, played, and beat. It was fucking trash, but I wanted to be. I'm like, I love Final Fantasy. This is mainline Final Fantasy. Like, I got it. Main problem with that game is the character designs, particularly for the main party itself. And party, I'm going to use that word loosely here. The whole boy band goth aesthetic it just didn't do it for me. And the cardinal sin, you don't really control the other party members. You just control Noctis. $300 million is ridiculous for a budget. Love Final Fantasy 9. Absolutely. Carnage 9 was the best. Vivi for the win. Definitely a great character. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the GameCube. Absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff all around. All right. So now, before I move on from 15, let me say, as someone that actually beat the whole fucking game and just was really not liking it, there were some good points. The monsters looked great. So all the famous Final Fantasy monsters, staples of the series, were all in their glory. That was awesome. But that was it, really. That was the only thing that I could really enjoy from that game. Was the monsters look cool. They showed better character design. There was a dragoon lady that even joined your party for a short while. She had this cool dragoon armor, but I don't know. Everybody else was in some just goth boy band garb. Yeah, it did not scream like heroes, adventure. You even end up pushing your car for a while, which is a really annoying thing that AAA games do nowadays, where you literally have a mission and you're just pushing something or crawling along the ground or walking with your wounded leg. It's just come on. This isn't fun. This isn't at all interesting. Not engaging. I'm literally just doing this to get to the next part. I digress. Final Fantasy 16 comes out. Okay, I've still not played it, and we'll go through why here in a little bit. But the thing that I'm going to disagree with everyone's assessment of why this game flopped is everyone, not everyone, I keep saying that, but a lot of the things I read, they mentioned really two things. The lesser thing being the marketing. I'm sure someone else has said this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't care how much you market a turd, aka polish a turd, it's still a turd. So I don't really, I already just don't believe that. But the bigger one is the fact that it was exclusive to PlayStation 5, exclusivity in general. And I know since then it's dropped on a couple other consoles and whatnot. And I'm also going to I'm gonna just say fi on that. I don't believe that's true because again I've been around for a while, and much of that time I've gotten to live, breathe, and see and experience the evolution of video games. And I can tell you that you make a great game, it will sell your system. It's happened many times before, and the fact that's not happening is an indictment on the industry and nothing else. As Kassan points out, needing $300 million to make a game is absolutely ridiculous. When it comes to like Final Fantasies and RPGs, you could, and this is why Nintendo does such a great job because they don't focus on like using every little bit of power the system has. They focus on making the gameplay smooth, a great, fun experience without bugs. It looks great, but video games should be more of an art form. It shouldn't be, hey, this is, you always have to be hyper realistic. You always have to have realistic shading and lighting and use a route tracing, whatever the fuck else is out there when it comes to video processing. Just make it art, make it look cool. I think the last Zelda, which I'm actually currently playing through, the Echoes of Wisdom. Obviously, we went from Tears of the Kingdom, and before that, Breath of the Wild, a little bit more realistic graphics, and now we're back to the kitty and bubbly. But the game's fun as shit. Everyone in my family has enjoyed it so far. Who's winning? Shit like that. So anyway, let's but my main so anyway, so my main thing is I think they're wrong about that. Okay. The fact that there wasn't marketing or that because it was exclusive to PlayStation, if it was good, believe me, and if it was this great epic Final Fantasy game that we should be getting these days with all the power that we do have, let's not worry about graphics. Let's worry about depth of the game and the gameplay and the story. But no, we can't look forward to that. And it's not because of exclusivity, it's because Final Fantasy 16, it's not Final Fantasy without party members. Final Fantasy 15, before that, you had party members, you could barely control them, and I was pretty much done with that. But now this is just, let's look at some footage here. This is the just a little bit of fighting here. Uh, this is like Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, Gaiden. And I love those games. Don't get me wrong. I love those types of games, but not what I want from my Final Fantasy. And I don't like this should be brighter. It looks like there's like Vaseline smeared on the camera that shot this. And of course, it wasn't shot by a camera. I can't even tell like that guy looks, is it a wall or a dude or both? But anyway, my main thing though is the fighting system. Now, yeah, I like turn based, but I don't require it. Look at Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth, which I like those games a lot. Still pissed off that I didn't get my one for one Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not super into the whole, spoiler alert, multiverse ish thing on that, as you all know. But the gameplay, and the way it looks, by the way, too, but the gameplay is certainly not any complaint I have. Because yes, it's fast action combat. It's not turn based, but you do have multiple party members, and you can slow down the action so much that you have time if you need to go through some menus. Switch to a party member. You can control them or just give them directions on what to do, but the game allows you to slow it down so much that you can do what you need to do in the menus when you're trying to strategize this boss battle. I think it's actually the perfect system for RPGs and the perfect blend of like action, turn based strategy, combat that we can have in modern RPGs. And it's because of that it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy. You don't have a party of adventurers. You've got third person action adventure hack and slash. I'm sure, and again I haven't played it, so I'm sure the story is decent, but it's not a Final Fantasy. And don't get me wrong, I've heard of people that enjoy it. And again, for that genre of game, absolutely, it looked great. I'm sure it's quality, but for Final Fantasy, just having one dude roll around, no party members, nothing, and Vaseline all over the graphics to boot. I just don't get it. Am I wrong? Have you played Final Fantasy 16? Do you enjoy it? Unfortunately, the numbers agree with me, hence why I'm taking this stance. Nothing else sells not a good product. Hey, boom, 3 million, and right there's 3.5 million copies sold. I think that's maybe 100,000 somewhere around there. Had to have lost money. Such a God, I could Square used to be just such a banging company. And it really seems like ever since Square and Enix formed, that outside of remaking their old shit, Final Fantasy has just sucked. The Dragon Quests have been cool, what the ones Enix used to do. So their Dragon Quest shit slaps. It's awesome. On the Square side, other than remaking shit, I don't know. I really don't get Square because, like, Final Fantasy Tactics, Exhibit A, there's only one Final Fantasy Tactics. The title that basically created or established like the grid battle RPG system, they never did a sequel. They remade it. And when I say remade, like they made it available for the iOS. Yeah, yeah, I got you there, Kasan. So yeah, that's even worse. That's about 150 million, Kasan says, as far as money made by Final Fantasy 16. Listen, I thought companies were supposed to make money. Who is consulting the executives of Square Enix that like change is fine? No, none of the Final Fantasy main lines are exactly the same. It's always a game that has evolved, whether it be how it looks visually or introducing a new mechanic or new battle system. Some of them lamer than others. And I'm looking at you, Magic Draw System from Final Fantasy VIII. You really are putrid. I really do hope and think
They deserve to die.
trying to get all of them in tonight since I'm on solo mode. Sad state of affairs because I want to play a good Final Fantasy. I'm a big fan of the fantasy aesthetic, but I don't mind little magic mechanisms, little magitech, if you would. Final Fantasy VI, that was a fun game. I like that. I like that universe and all the magitech machinery and shit. That was so cool. It wasn't like 100% fantasy, but still had a lot of fantasy elements. I don't know. I miss my Final Fantasy franchise. Don't get me wrong. All the old shit's still there and has been remade 18 times. Not like I can't do that. Can't complain too much. But really would be cool to just have this massive balls to the wall, not graphically, storyline, mechanics, side quest, just go all out. Final Fantasy should. Kassan says, I never played Final Fantasy 16, but the way you describe it, they try to incorporate the God of War point of view. Yes, definitely God of War, Final Fantasy. God of Final Fantasy. That's what I'll nickname it. Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy God. I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. He talks.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Superhero Speak podcast. And don't forget to watch us live every Sunday night right here on this channel.
While you're here, hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications so you won't miss out on any of our great upcoming content.
Speaking of content, don't forget to check out our website, superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast, links to our social media, merch, comic reviews, and so much more. That's superheroespeak.com.
Thanks for watching, and don't let your cape be caught in the door. See you next time.